Good evening and welcome to Paranormal Path Peeps with Emily Nicholson from Category Paranormal and
Paranormal.
Haunted Happenings. Is that it? No, not at all,
That's
but
the
I
one.
tried.
That's the one.
I tried for Victoria. But there you go. But yeah, so nice to speak to you finally.
And you,
Met
yeah.
you at a few parameets
Yeah.
and they've been fun, haven't they?
Oh, always a good laugh at Parameet. Yeah, always. Just the whole weekend is it's completely mad and flies, but yeah,
Oh,
it's
doesn't it
brilliant.
just, it
Absolutely
just,
brilliant.
it, yeah, but been some stunning locations as well.
Mhm.
Well, the first hotel was a bit funny. Rugby. Bit like
Yeah,
Fawlty Towers really, wasn't it?
it was a
So
little bit.
after that it just kind of disappeared into oblivion now, which
Yeah.
is a stunning hotel, but when they need to use a generator to
Mhm.
provide electric to the hotel
Yeah.
and then actually use a car to jumpstart it, that was a
Yeah.
bit random,
It's not
you know.
great, is it?
There you go. So I always start off basically asking what your first encounter was. The
Yeah.
first encounter which is spooky, paranormal or something. Always Helen, how you doing?
Hi guys, Benny, come here. I have to apologise for the dog now. He's very
Oh, just don't
loud.
worry about it. It's fine.
Um,
No, not a
you
problem
hear
at all.
barking. Um,
It's not mine. He's there. He's looking grumpy.
bless him.
Don't know what
Oh,
he's doing.
well, I've got biscuits around me, so Benny hopefully will just sit quiet and wait for biscuits.
Just wait for
But
biscuits,
yeah,
bribery. There's nothing like it with a
yeah,
dog, is
that's
there?
it, bribing him.
I love it.
But yeah, my first paranormal experience is. Do you know what? I always hear people talk about the first paranormal experience, and they talk about like being a child and living in like a spooky house or whatever, and seeing spirits as children. I never had any of that. Like, I don't really remember like my first paranormal experience as such. I genuinely think my first paranormal experience was on a haunted happenings event.
Oh, wow.
Which, yeah,
Incredible.
so the first time I went on an event, or sort of like after having done a few events, then I started to kind of experience things. But I think probably the biggest, sort of the most kind of the one that I remember the most, would probably be at Codnor Farmhouse in Derbyshire.
Wow.
Yeah,
Incredible location.
that place
Yeah.
was pretty amazing. So I think it was my second or my third event with Haunted Happenings as a guest. I was still only 18, and
Bless
it
you.
was brilliant. It was everything happened that night that you wanted to happen on a ghost hunt. Like, it was like proper horror movie style sort of event. Um, from sort of just noises and sounds to lights to people being affected to a great plank of wood flying off a window,
Wow.
which was insane. And a phone we phoned. So there's two cottages, for those of you who don't know, at Codnor. There's two cottages next door to each other, and we all sat in one cottage, and then we phoned somebody's phone to the other cottage and put it
Yeah.
on the stairs, and we were talking through the phone, and we could hear noises coming through
Mhm.
the other side of the phone from the other cottage. And then we sung Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, because
Wow.
that's believed to be the story that that there's the little girl there is believed to sing to that and stuff. So we sung it, and then when we got down to star, like the last word, the phone hung up, and there was no one in that other cottage. Not
Wow.
a soul
Incredible.
was in that cottage, not living anyway. And then when we went and checked the phone, it was just like it had been hung up, like the ghost had just pressed end call or whatever. Which it blew my mind. That and I know if like Nat and Vicky, who we were with, and my mum, we were all on that event. It was absolutely mind blowing.
Yeah.
Absolutely mind blowing.
It is a great loss. It's a really creepy farmhouse
Mhm.
right next door to the ruins of a castle as well.
Yeah,
Down a really sort of narrow lane, just
yeah,
leading there really, and not
yeah.
one or two other properties,
Mhm.
and
Yeah,
it was dark there as well,
yeah,
wasn't it?
very dark,
And
yeah,
it
yeah,
it was a special place.
yeah.
I only got to go there once,
Mhm.
unfortunately, but it was brilliant, and
It was really good.
just a shame, and then it's, like, off the scene, so
Yeah,
it's not a good one, is it? But
no,
yeah, but for you to get all that in, like,
yeah.
one night,
It
yeah,
were
that
it
is
were
incredible.
amazing. Yeah, it really was amazing. I don't think I've ever had another event since then with so much activity, just like one
Yeah.
after the other. It there's something about that building and the spirits that are in that building that just honestly, that night they just were all out to play. And I know it doesn't happen like that every time, you know that it doesn't.
Yeah, that's right.
But that particular event just it blew my mind, and that sticks to me as one of, like, the best paranormal experiences, and probably one of my first ones as well.
Oh, that's incredible. Because, like, that was the place where you did the phone experiment.
Yeah.
I tried it as well, and I got a response.
Did you?
And it was yeah, and it was fantastic how it
Mhm.
worked.
Yeah.
And until, somebody sort of came up with the idea of that, I think it was Viv,
Yeah.
then, you know, I'm not aware of it being used publicly
Mhm.
at any other event.
No, no, I don't think we've ever well, I definitely haven't done it since. Oh, no, we did, we tried it at the Four Crosses once, actually. But it was the first time I'd seen it happen at Codnor,
Yeah.
and I'm pretty sure it was just kind of a spur of the moment decision, should we try it kind of
Oh,
thing.
right, okay.
In
Yeah.
fact, I think, Vicky, if Vicky's watching or Nat's watching, they'll probably be able to answer it better than me, but, sorry, that's Benny just having a drink.
Right.
But, yeah, I think we just tried it as an experiment to try, and then we tried it again once at the Four Crosses, but I've not used it since. But it's just such a good method, isn't it, really, to be able to hear from another room?
Yeah, it is. I think I've tried it from Matlock Pavilion.
Mhm,
What I did, you've got 2 rooms, one either side. You've got one, and then you've got the auditorium area, really long corridors to the other bit. So we
mhm,
tried to run it over there, and there seemed to be things happening. Like I've got a lot of equipment flashing, and there's no reason for it.
mhm.
So I sort of filmed it, and that was happening more than anything. And I was just concerned about the sounds,
Yeah,
whether they were the vehicles going by.
mhm.
But the thing is about Codner, it is in the middle of nowhere,
It is smack
and
bang
you're
in the
not
middle of
going to get
nowhere.
any other sound apart from the people you're with.
No. I'm pretty sure the first time we went, we ended up in a farmer's field before we even found the house. Like, it literally
Oh,
is
yeah,
in the middle of
exactly. I
nowhere.
get you. I totally get that. Lisa, we should try it when we're together again.
Definitely, Lisa, let's do it.
Yeah, because I was going down my lane and then there's just someone standing there. Otherwise, you could have gone straight on. So
Yeah,
yeah, I think I know which field you meant because
literally, yeah, right
yeah,
to the
you
end,
just
getting
don't have a
lost.
clue, do you? You know, you're driving along. It's like, oh, there's no sat nav. You're
Yeah,
just
yeah,
heading and hoping, really. And
yeah, yeah.
you do get a few locations like that. If you had any other issues getting to places,
So it's not necessarily an issue, but I have you ever been to Tatton Old Hall?
not yet.
Right,
I'd
it's
love to go
brilliant,
there.
absolutely brilliant if you get the chance. But the thing with Tatton is you arrive at the location at the front gates, and then it's a 10-minute drive within the park before you even reach the hall. So you are literally it's another one where you are smack bang in the middle of nowhere. You are in the
Wow.
middle of a deer park. Like, you are surrounded by stags and deer and sheep, and
Wow.
there's no signal. So if you wanna, like, properly be in the middle of nowhere, Tatton's a pretty good one,
Hey,
to go to.
Penny.
Hi, Penny.
Oh, wow. But yeah, that sounds incredible. But you've got to watch it when you leave, haven't you? As
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
Like, I go to Wallerton Hall, I've investigated there a
Mhm.
few times. And yeah, you have to watch the deer on the way out.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
even there, you're just driving down the little lane, and the deer is just
Mhm.
like, whoops, okay,
It's
and
terrifying, isn't
it's their
it?
park, isn't it? You
It's
certainly don't want one of
terrifying.
those near the car. Yeah, I definitely need to try it. I really do.
It's brilliant, it's a brilliant location.
Hey,
Hi,
hi,
Alex.
Alex. Yeah, but you must have been to some incredible ones. You've been to
Yeah,
so
I
many
feel
as well,
very
haven't you?
lucky, very, very lucky to have the obviously, for those who don't know, I'm a team member at Haunted Happenings, so I get to do this week in, week out, which is absolutely brilliant to travel up and down the UK with my friends, with my mum as well. Obviously, my mum's on the team as well,
Yeah.
and meet everyone. And we just have the best time. And some of the locations that we get to go to, like yourself, Jackie, like some of them are another level, and you just can't
Oh,
believe when you stood in
definitely.
there at like midnight in this amazing building. Yeah, it's pretty special.
Yeah, and that is the thing, like, even for people who don't experience a lot, just going and being in
Yeah,
an amazing building
yeah,
amongst history from, 11, twelve
yeah,
hundreds or more recent.
yeah.
It's absolutely amazing
It
and
is.
it's inspiring, isn't it?
I think it is. Yeah, I think because you've got that paranormal side of things, but you've got the history as well,
Yeah.
and to put them together, and then when you get paranormal experiences that corroborate the history that you get as well, I just
Yes.
think is like that is just the icing on the cake when they sit with each other so nicely. I think
Yeah,
that's brilliant.
that's right. Do you actually look at the history before you go?
It varies, it varies. I like to go in if it's a place I've never ever been to before, I like to go in blind.
Yeah.
But obviously being on a team that you kind of want to have some knowledge so that if the guests come and ask you and anything, you want to be able to give them the best answer that you can. So I will do a little bit of history research,
Yeah.
unless it's somewhere where I know, for example, the rest of the team that night will be well, they'll know the history really well, and in which
Yeah.
case I might go in blind just to see kind of what I get. But yeah, I do like to look at the history, but not too much because I kind of like to have that little bit where you if see what happens and then like not be influenced by that kind of thing.
That is the problem, isn't it?
Mhm.
Because
Yeah,
you know the history, going in and think, "Oh, hello, we forgot who's here," and
yeah,
yeah, okay, but there are other people around,
absolutely.
and there's so many like years and
Mhm.
so many layers to a lot of
Yeah,
places. Like I've been to Derby Jail,
yeah,
and I picked up somebody from the nightclub.
yeah,
Like everybody actually is assuming the jail.
yeah,
Well, that's a short part of its life,
100%,
and
100%, yeah,
this is it, isn't it?
yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
welcome. Hello. I think I met you in Wales, this lady. So at the castle, I'm a celeb castle.
Oh,
So thanks
nice
for
one. I'd love to
joining
go
us.
there.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
Mhm,
But that was really random because I'm sure uh, I got the lady of the husband who built it.
mhm.
So I found out quite a lot from her. So
Nice.
I need to check up the history on that one.
Mhm.
So it is incredible.
Yeah,
And
I love that.
yeah,
I
I
love it
do,
when they cross
do need to
over.
check. Yeah, that's right. It was just so lovely. Hello. But you also go to Newsham.
Newsham, yeah, that is
Wow.
an insane location.
Is
Um,
that yeah, I'd love to go.
if you get the chance, I always say this to guests, like they always say, "Oh, what's the scariest place you do?" Or and there I think everyone can be scary in its own way. Like it depends how you perceive it in terms of scary. But if I think with Newsham, the what it is and the way that it looks, if you want like that perfect looking
Mm,
haunted venue, like that's the one that you want
it
to go
looks the
to.
part.
Yeah, it looks the part,
It's got the
100%.
corridors, it's got the history. If you pick things up as well, if you're an
Yeah.
empath, you're gonna
Mhm.
get that as well, aren't you?
100%. Yeah,
So, yeah, it's all there
100%.
for you. Newsham
You
need to go.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Laura, you
I
definitely need to
I
go.
need to sort that. Hello, Vicky.
Hi, Vicky.
You missed me trying to say haunted happenings earlier. It probably was a 5 out of 10 compared to yours, but there you go.
Yeah,
But
Newsham's
yeah,
brilliant.
Newsham, yeah. So, you've got your page
I
going
have.
now,
Yeah,
and,
yeah, very, very new, very fresh,
that's
but yeah,
nice.
I'm excited about it. It's nice. I mean, to be fair, Category Paranormal started about 3 years ago, and I just used it to post pictures. I like to take pictures of these locations we went to, and I just used to post the pictures on my
Yeah,
Instagram. And then I'd get people liking them and messaging me and like, oh, where's this place and what's this place about? So I'd do a little bit more digging and
yeah,
write a little bit more of a post about it and a bit of history
yeah.
I loved it. I loved doing it. I loved searching it. I loved the fact that you could continue your event after you'd left the location, kind of thing.
Oh,
So I
exactly.
thought let's try it. Let's make it a thing and see if people like it. Hi, Chris.
Yeah. I take photos, and I've got loads of write-ups to do, but you just run out of time.
You do.
And you as well.
Yeah.
University.
Yeah, full time. Yeah,
Wow.
trying to. I mean, I guess uni's always got to come first, and it always will. Like I'm doing a
Yeah, that's
PhD
right. For
now,
now,
so yeah, for now.
uni's going to be a time in your life, isn't it?
Yeah. Hmm.
But then you could after that, then you've got the rest of your life ahead of
Yeah.
you.
No, that's true. I mean, I'm doing my PhD now, so that's pretty full on, pretty sort of self-directed, and kind of hi Pam, and being very sort of self-motivated to do that, and I'm loving it. It's really good, but obviously that takes up time. That's going to take up most
Definitely.
of my time, and that's great because I love that. But then it's nice to come home as well, and this was why I wanted to start the blog, because it's something that once I've done my day of doing a PhD or doing my day of study, I can go home. Thanks, Laura. I can go home at the end of the day and just dig into like a the history of a place, or start
Yeah.
editing photos of a place and start posting. And it's kind of that step away from all the study and all the hard work, which is as fun as much as I love that. It's nice to have something else that you can fall back on as well.
Yeah. I kind of found that I've done photography since I was,
Hmm.
well, ever really, from my first little 110 camera to, modern
Hmm.
DSLRs and everything else. And I always take photos. And pardon me, how many photos did I get? And I just can't help it. And I, I used to take it like as my downtime. I
Hmm.
just can't sit here, so you'd just be editing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just so far. Hey, look at this. So
Thanks,
proud of my
Mom.
adopted daughter. Wow, that's beautiful. But yeah, and you're doing really well. You
Thanks.
are.
Thanks. I'm enjoying
Yeah.
it. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of hard work, but it's fun, and it'll all work out. I'm sure in the end it'll be worth it in the end.
Of course it is. Yeah, that's right. And you're at the right time of your life to do uni as
Mhm.
well.
Yeah,
And that's it. You get the qualifications, and you'll go out, and yeah, make sure you have playtime as well.
absolutely. And that's what
Yeah.
it is, really, isn't it? Going out with
Oh,
haunted happenings at the
yeah.
weekends is it's a job, but at the end of the day, it's my hobby. It's just as fun to go out and meet the guests and work with the team and go to these locations. And I don't have to think about studying for a little bit. I don't have to
Oh
think about
gosh,
what I've got
definitely.
to revise. We can go and enjoy ourselves, have a good laugh, see what we find, and we always have a laugh. It's always so much fun.
And you've
Um,
got a family around you, haven't you?
that's it. Yeah, I
But
mean,
you have got your family with you anyway, obviously,
mhm,
Helen. But you have. It's like haunted happenings are a family, because
they are
whenever I've seen you all at
100%.
the Paramate,
Yeah, they are.
wow,
They are
it's
they are the best family. I know there's a lot of them in the comments, so they didn't pay me to say this or anything. No, I'm
oh
joking.
bless you.
No, they are a family. We are a family. We are a team,
Yeah,
and everybody on that team works incredibly hard and has each other's
yeah,
back. And I think that's the nicest thing as well. Like you can fit into this group and you're all there for the same thing. You've all got the same interests that might be perceived as a little bit weird to anyone outside of the group, but you've got you have the team around you. And yeah, they're a good team. They're a good team.
yeah. That's it. And yeah, see you come together at the Paramate, and like I've investigated with you at the Paramate as well.
Yeah.
And there you go. Money's on
Thanks,
its way.
Chris. It's
But
normally
yeah,
Chris sending the
it,
money.
but but what you did at the Paramate, oh my gosh, what an entrance. I'm just
Yeah.
good. I'm really good, because the Paramate, I just arrived, I just got ready, and I just arrived, and all of a sudden, haunted happenings arrive, and they're walking down a staircase. Emily, rest of the story.
Yeah, so it was the fancy dress night, wasn't it, at the
Yeah.
Parameet? It does help, Lisa, it does. Um Yeah, yeah, so fancy dress night at the Paramie, and everyone did amazing. Everyone's costumes were brilliant. And then
Oh,
we were like, we've got to do something as a team. We've got to put something together. And I think we all went to, so before, in preparation for the event, we all went out to, it was some shopping centre in Dudley, I think, and we went to the Halloween shop,
oh,
and we went in and we were like, right, what are we going to do? And I think it was Vicky's idea. She was like, right, we're going to be funeral directors. And we're all in the shop, like trying on these hats and everything and trying to make like, yeah, it was a bit mad. But then,
oh,
yeah, we were
YMCA,
funeral
incredible.
directors, and I
Y-
decided to do a whole like procession into the Parameet night with coffin and everything. Um,
Yeah, so you sort of made a grand entrance down the stairs, two abreast sort of thing, and then went down into the bar and through along a corridor into the dance floor, and then
and
YMCA
then
came
why?
on, and you got this coffin as well with you, and
Yeah.
oh, it's incredible.
The
It really was.
YMCA was not planned, like, it
No,
wasn't
no,
planned, it
because
was just
Neil,
happened that, yeah, it
yeah,
was brilliant.
that sort of as well, because Neil had sort of left music. It was
Mhm.
just planned a playlist and everything. And as they walked to YMCA, so yeah,
What good
and
timing.
Ant from Haunted Antiques actually filmed it as well,
Yeah,
doesn't he? Because
yeah.
I was there when it was happening. It's like, oh, what's going on? Like, oops, he's filming it. But yeah, it happens, doesn't it? But
Yeah, it was
but
brilliant, it
yeah,
was brilliant. You
that's
should have seen them all
incredible.
practicing up in the room before. I've got videos of them practicing if you wanna see them.
Yay! We need that showing. Go on, put it
Yeah,
on Category Paranormal.
I'll stick it on, yeah.
Yay! We want to see this. But yeah,
Yeah,
but
it was a lot of
oh,
fun.
what an incredible night! And yeah, like that's such a special. Like I do fancy dress a lot. I'm in a theatre
Mhm.
group. We're used to it. But what you did as a team, oh, that
Well,
was
we've gotta step it
incredible.
up though, haven't we, for next time? I feel like we're in
Well,
competition now.
yeah, that's it. There's going to be a bit of a competition going, definitely. But yeah.
Well, we'll get our
Interesting.
thinking hats on. We've already got some ideas. We've already got some, but can't say anything.
I really don't know how you can beat that one.
We're
Yeah.
struggling, I'll be totally honest.
Well, yeah, because it was perfect.
It was a lot of fun, and everyone did
Yeah.
well. Everyone chipped in, which was lovely.
Oh, yeah, it was brilliant. So where are you going? What are your plans now? So what you got coming up, basically?
What have we got coming up? So just haunted happenings at the weekends. We don't know, sort of. It's a nice surprise every week when we find out
Oh,
where we're
okay.
going, which
Oh,
is
that's
lovely.
great.
Because
Yeah,
we put his availability in, and then we'll find out where we're going, which is
that's
always a
great.
lovely surprise on a Monday morning when you're refreshing your emails constantly to find out where you're going.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
yeah, it
Yeah.
starts the week off nicely, which is lovely. Um, and yeah, we did, Chris. We definitely
Oh,
peaked too
bless you.
soon. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, so we've got Friday the 13th coming up. So
Wow.
always a busy night for us on a Friday the
Yeah,
13th.
definitely.
It's always a lot of fun though. Always get some good sort of, well, we always have a laugh, but on Friday the 13th, there's something special about Friday the 13th.
Yeah, but your energy levels as a team as well. Like if you're a host, you've got to have energy.
Mhm.
You've got to add to it. You can't just stand there and be miserable. And
Yeah.
you're like, I'm not saying you're entertaining, but you're getting it going, aren't you?
Yeah,
And
we try. I mean, we try.
yeah.
I mean, some our I'll say it again. The team are brilliant. Like everyone on that team works so hard on those events, and even
Oh,
the
bless
team
you.
behind the scenes, like Hazel and Alex and Zoe, they put so much hard work in behind the
Oh, bless
scenes to get
them.
it all going. But yeah, I mean, you've got to put it in, haven't you? Because
You have, yeah,
people are coming to our events, but it's their event. It's the public's event. We're just there to
yeah,
facilitate it.
definitely.
So if
And
we
it's
can
their
give it
money.
exactly,
Hard
exactly.
earned money now. So
So I know it is, it is. So if we can put in that effort and sort of create the room and kind of thing and put that energy in for them, hopefully it will encourage them to give sort of a similar energy back, and then they're more likely to go ahead and get the thanks, Laura.
that's
And
beautiful.
yeah, so they're more likely if we put the energy in and we show them, then hopefully they'll reciprocate that, and then it gives
Yeah.
them the best chance of getting paranormal activity to happen when they come in with
Yeah.
those high energy levels. So yeah, it's all we love meeting the guests. Yeah, literally. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it, Lisa. That's it. It's
That's
just as
right.
much
You've
fun
got
for
to, haven't
us.
you?
You have.
Yeah. And yeah, you're selling a night out, aren't you? And that's it. And we don't know anything's going to happen, but as soon as everyone sort of gets high energy and everything starts going, that's it. And
It's brilliant.
you've
Yeah,
just got to hope something happens. And
absolutely.
yeah, and when it
Yeah.
does, it can be. Bless you. Take care. It can be, a special night, can't you? And you do remember your first one, don't you, as
Mhm.
well? So. And then
Yeah.
if people come back, you've won, haven't you? You've done
Yeah.
it. So
Yeah.
that's what counts. But
I always think
yeah,
like what was that like I always think back to my first event. So I did my first ever ghost hunt with haunted happenings when
wow.
I was just before 18. I was so desperate to go
Shame.
on an event, like growing up watching it all on the telly and all of that and just being desperate to go over. Yeah. And being desperate to just go out there and do it for myself. So Balls Over Castle. I don't know if you've ever been to Balls Over Castle.
Oh, don't. I didn't know what it was. I didn't
No?
Google it. I didn't know anything about the history.
Have
I
you been?
arrived and it's an upmarket knocking shop. Yeah, because I was picking. I went with Haunted Happenings
Mhm.
actually, and like we went in a room and in my head, my imagery was this woman on a chaise long wearing
Yeah.
this dress being
Yeah.
fed grapes.
Oh,
And that's
wow.
what my imagery in my head, I
Yeah.
thought, "What the hell's going on here?" I
Nice
didn't have
one.
a clue.
Mhm.
And, like,
Yeah.
the imagery I was getting in my head was like, this is a castle." But then,
Yeah.
like, when it's a fun palace, oh,
Yeah.
okay. And, it's nice to sort of get this imagery and then actually realise that, "Oh, okay,
It links up.
I'm right." And
Yeah.
yeah,
No, that's brilliant.
so that's the
Yeah,
advantage of going in blind, isn't it?
it
But
is. Yeah. Yeah. You get that anything you get, you got then the chance to you're not influenced by that and you can be confident that you've not
yeah.
different kind of spirits on that one, Laura. Um, but yeah, you don't when you don't know the history and you can go into these locations blind, and you get something, then you know full well that you've not been influenced on that. And I think that's really special then when you do experience something and it links up
Yeah,
with the actual
definitely.
history. It makes me think of the Haunted Antique Centre does that. There's been
Oh gosh.
I've had some of my best, I wanna say, like, sensitive experiences,
Yeah,
at the Haunted Antiques where I've known nothing about whatever it is, and then to have it confirmed afterwards, it's
yeah.
blown my mind, completely blown my mind.
Yeah, that's it. Because with haunted antiques, well, if I'm hosting, I keep quiet about the
Mhm.
objects. Just let people feed you the information.
Yeah,
We don't mention things and how many people go into a certain room and get stomach pains, and
yeah,
then you go, yeah, here we go again, then, and
yeah,
you know,
been there.
but you let them build it.
Yeah.
That you let them build on it and build on it,
Mhm.
and you sort of push to see what other
Yeah,
information you can get from them, and then at the end go, oh, by the way, yeah, and
yeah, it all makes
it
sense.
is incredible. So, what's your favourite item there?
At the Haunted Antiques, that's
Well, I'm not gonna
difficult, is
say
that?
one. There's loads of them.
It's that's difficult. I can tell you who it's definitely not.
Hannah.
Hannah. Yeah,
Yeah, I agree.
not a
Um,
fan of Hannah.
I
Yeah,
apologise to her every time I go.
she
I
just
It's awful. I apologise all the time.
she's terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. I don't know what it is because everyone loves her. And I know when
No,
if
not
we
me.
go as the yeah, I was gonna say SJ saying mine's Hannah. Yeah, she
Mm.
carries around like a baby.
Oh god,
Um,
no.
but no, I think she's terrifying. I've sat and I'd never make anything up, and I genuinely was sat once opposite the table to her, and we were table tipping in the doll room, and we sat there, and I think whoever was sat opposite me, it was probably SJ, had her on her knee, and I was looking straight at Hannah's eyes, and I'm not kidding, she blinked.
Oh,
Now,
she does. Yeah.
you know there's no way that her plastic eyes that do not move
Yeah,
can go
yeah,
anywhere,
I get you.
but she blinked, and that just
Yeah.
to see it, yeah, that was enough for me. That was
I've
enough.
seen her talking to me and her lips moving, and if I could have read her lips, then I would have known what she was
Yeah,
saying.
yeah,
And
no.
it was like it's like she got a face over hers, and it just looked like her face,
Mhm.
but she, uh, all the features were
Yeah.
moving, and it was so crazy. It really
It was.
was, and
It's mental because she's no, we don't.
yeah,
No,
it's just a doll, but yeah, you can't say that to her. She won't appreciate it.
no,
But yeah,
no.
for me to go in and actually apologise to a damn doll, sorry,
Yeah,
because
I
I'm not
know.
disrespectful to her. She knows I don't like her.
Yeah.
On a public event, we went round and said, "Oh, Hannah, who do you want, to hold you?" She made me hold her. I don't think that was fair. And
No,
she's all right. Yeah, I
yeah.
like Paul.
Yeah,
So
Paul,
Paul
we've
is
seen
a
Paul move. Yeah, we
ventriloquist dummy. He,
yeah, we
yeah, his party trick is to fall out of a chair.
yeah. We've
You've
seen
seen
him
it,
do that a couple of
yeah,
times, and that's brilliant. I think so.
yeah,
It's not my story, but I know my mum's watching. And one of the times she went, she was telling another member of our team. We I think we booked out the centre, just haunted happenings. We booked it out
yeah.
for a few of us, and I think she was just telling. I think it was Ian actually. They were just chatting and saying, "This is what we've seen Paul do this before," kind of thing. And next minute, Paul just flops over on his chair.
Oh wow,
And I'm like, yeah, that's what he does. Another time I went up, the all the HH gang were down in the base room chatting, and I went to go and take some photos for the blog. And Paul was perfectly sat up in the chair in the corner,
yeah.
and I was chatting to him while he were in there. And then I went back down and came up again, and he'd moved in his chair. And I've got the two photo difference. There's about half an hour time lapse, and I
Yeah.
know that none of us went up in that time. But to see him in a different position and have the photographs to prove it, yeah, he's brilliant.
It's yeah, it is so fascinating, and
Really.
we we don't know why, but it happens, doesn't it? And
He was.
yeah, the clown as well moves. Have you seen that?
Not yet, but I'm not sure how I feel about that.
Yeah, so the clown is like life size,
Yeah,
and you kind of think that there's a person in there, but they're not. But yeah, it's a lot to take in
yeah,
when that's sitting there, flopped over and slid off a chair right in front of us, and yeah, and I've seen it frequently,
mhm,
and you jump on the floor as well, don't you?
yeah,
You jump up and down on the floor. Has this caused it? Because the floor does move. We know that.
yeah,
But you're not sometimes walking by it, and
no,
it's happening. And
no.
oh, you've got brilliant,
Oh,
fantastic,
hard
yeah,
to see them, Chris.
yeah. That
Yeah,
and the thing is, like, yeah, there's dolls, there's this and that, but to get so many people coming out with the same stories,
yeah, yeah.
and that's the one, isn't it? It really
100%,
is.
yeah, yeah. I mean, and the thing I like about the haunted antiques is you can't really go and search it. Do you know what I mean? Like you can't get it up. There's information out there about it, but all of those objects in the museum,
Yeah, they're all different.
you can't go and find out about them. And so when
No,
you go in and people have these same experiences time and time again, it just screams paranormal, doesn't it? Because there's no
yeah.
way of otherwise explaining it.
But it's a cauldron, isn't it? You've got so many energies in
Yeah.
there,
Hmm.
and you get used to it. But then there's weird things what happen, and the spirits which you think are in one room, and all of a
Yeah.
sudden they're in another room.
Yeah.
Like the doctor, he caught him in the war room and the doll's room,
Mhm.
and you notice subtle changes when
Yeah.
you're there, and it's great to be able to go into a place and get so much
Yeah.
experience of it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Really.
I think when
And
every time we've been, you get those same things happening
yeah,
again and again. But at the same time, I think every night we've been to the haunted antiques, there's something different. You leave with
yeah.
something new, something different that you add it to your little list of all the things that you've experienced. And yeah, it's what was that one? Tell a story about your arms. Yeah, that was another one
Oh,
at the center. So
oh,
we were
bless you. Take
sat.
care.
See you later. Um, we um we did. That's spooky.
Oh gosh. Oh, I seen somebody with some eyes as well. Yeah, I know somebody else. I don't know who it was. I don't know if it's your photo, but yeah, I did hear about somebody getting a photo of a doll with eyes and it doesn't have them.
It's weird.
Yeah,
That's weird.
yeah,
The arms story. So we were sat. Again, it was just us. We Haunted Happenings had booked it out, and a few of us went up, and I was sat in the air raid shelter in the war room.
yeah,
They were all trying to do it. I think it was like Ouija board or something around the
yeah,
table. And I was sat with the headphones on doing the Estes in the shelter. Couldn't hear a word of what anyone was saying.
yeah.
Um, and all of a sudden, I got two in both arms. I got really sharp pains, like kind of just under my arms. And I was like,
Okay.
oh, that's really like uncomfortable. Is it how I'm sat? Is it because I'm on the floor, so I'm moving around? And it was getting worse and worse. And it felt like like cutting, like something sharp under my arms. And I was like, that's really strange and I don't like it. So I'm gonna go. So I went next door to the doll room just in case it was something in the room affecting me. And
Yeah.
I went next door to the doll room where Vicky was with another group of us doing a Ouija board, I think. And I went in and she said, "Oh, you all right? What's happening?" And I said, "My arms are really painful, as if someone's cutting them." And she just looked at me, and I'll never forget the face that she looked at me with. And there was just no expression there. And I was like, "What? What is it?" And she said, "This isn't the room for you." And I was like, "Right, why?" And she and the group that she was with had been talking to a soldier on the Ouija board who had had both of his arms amputated.
Oh my God.
And
Wow.
we'd found out that he was make it they I can't remember exactly, but they'd asked him to show himself or make himself known, and he was, through showing me how his arms were being cut.
Oh, wow, that's incredible.
And yeah, that baffled me because they were in another room. So not only did I have the headphones on and couldn't hear what was happening, they were in a different room. I had
Yeah,
absolutely no idea. There was nothing to tell me what they was experiencing.
that's
And
fantastic.
I think they asked on the board, "Is this you? Are you causing the actual physical feeling?" And it said yes. So I guess we can only presume that that's what it was.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
that is so beautiful when you sort of get validation like that. And
yeah,
the fact that it is in a different room, you're not listening, you're
yeah,
not hearing them or anything like that.
yeah.
And
There was
yeah, it's
no
just
way that I could
beautiful.
hear them. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
amazing. It really amazing. I love it when something like that happens because it just adds to that. It just adds to what you
It is
already want.
special.
Yeah.
It really is. When you get something different
Hmm.
and some such strong validation
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
Chris said there's nunnery, the spirit from the nunnery who had his arms
That
removed.
might have been it. That might have been. I'm sure there was something to do with they travelled with them or something. I can't remember the exact
Ah,
details. I just
yeah.
remember that Vicky's face looking at
Oh,
me. Oh yeah, that was another one. Getting my head cut at Falstaff's.
oh, okay.
Physically left the mark, which is the first time I've ever, and the
Wow.
only time. I mean, been doing this for nearing 6 years now, and it's the only time I've had a physical mark from a spirit, if that's what we're gonna call it. Um,
My
so have
God.
you ever done Falstaffs?
No, because I only travel an hour
Fair enough.
because of a
Yeah.
dog. So, and also I get tired.
Hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was it. Chris. Yeah.
Bless you.
Yeah, Falstaff's is a strange one. It's a museum, like Tudory style
Yeah.
museum, but it's probably the narrowest building I've ever been in my life. It's
Oh,
it's
wow.
it's really like it's all corridors and it's really strange and it's on 3 floors. And something about the night just didn't feel right with me. And
Okay.
it was a public event, it was a haunted happenings event, so
Oh,
very much guest focused, yeah, so I was keeping my mouth shut about anything that I was kind of feeling because I didn't want to
yeah.
influence anyone. It's not my event. Um,
No, that's right.
and I kept getting like a sharp pain right in the center of my head, which was weird. It was not like anything I'd felt before. It wasn't a headache, but then I was like, could it just be a headache because I'm tired and it's the middle of the night and stuff like that. And it just progressively got worse, but only upstairs. So I worked
Oh,
downstairs that night. So
okay.
was fine while we were
Fantastic.
downstairs,
Yeah.
doing all the vigils, not a problem. And then it got to the last vigil and it came back while I was downstairs. the feeling, the sharp pain, it came back and it was worse than it had been upstairs. And it did really genuinely feel like whatever was causing it, if it was something causing it upstairs, had come down and joined us. And
Wow.
when that started, the table that the guests were tipping became violent. I've never seen such strong table tipping like that before.
Oh my
And it was
gosh.
really, really going, but it was moving towards me at, like at
Oh,
speed. And I was
okay.
like, this can't happen because it's not my event. Like, keep it
Yeah.
with this kind of thing. And it kept getting closer and closer until I genuinely couldn't go any further back.
Wow.
And we literally called. I said, right, can we just stop the vigil? And it's the only time I've ever said, I don't feel comfortable or particularly safe at this time. Can we stop and restart? And as we stopped, as the table like literally came up to me, the pain in my head was so strong. It was horrible. I woke up the next morning and had a big cut in the middle of my forehead where I'd felt the
Oh my
pain,
gosh.
which blew my mind. Because
Oh,
you don't expect things like that. Hello.
no, you don't. I've never had an injury, but I felt them touch me.
Yeah.
This I don't know why, but some people always get scratched.
Mhm.
I don't get it. How
Yeah.
some don't. I don't understand how that works.
We've had
But
guests come on our events and go home with scratches and things like that you
wow,
just can't. Oh, wow, Claire. I can imagine it there, though, to be fair, because it gave me that kind of feeling that something like that could happen. It
that's
was,
amazing. That is.
it's
Obviously, we all want to see one of those, don't we? And
it would be nice, wouldn't it?
incredible. So you haven't seen a full apparition yet?
I'm not sure. I
Okay, go
can't
on
be
then.
100%. So I think physically, if I say with my own eyes rather than in my mind, I want to see something physically.
Okay,
I've seen things in my mind, and I know I've seen things, but I want to see something
yeah,
physically in the room. And I think the only time I was just about to say Shrewsbury is the only time I think I've seen something. And have you been to Shrewsbury before?
no, it's outside my zone, which is
Fair enough. Um, there's a story of the Shadow Man at Shrewsbury. That's one of the stories that everybody tells about Shrewsbury, and he's supposed to show himself as a shadow, hence the name, on A Wing. And it might be elsewhere in the prison, I'm not sure, but his common sightings are an A Wing. And I've heard people talk about him. I know friends who have seen him, but I was like, I've not seen him myself. I don't know what I'm looking for, kind of thing.
yeah,
And then this particular night, again with haunted happenings, two groups. I was working with two groups, table tipping. I set one group off going downstairs. They were brilliant on the first floor. And then the other group were like, oh, can we go and look in all the cells and try and find where we want to go? And I was like, go for it. I will come to you because you'll have your torch on or whatever, and I'll be able to
yeah,
see you or hear you. You go wherever you want, and I will come to you. So I'd set the first group off. And then happened to look up to try and see where the next group were. And you can see all the landings when you're on
yeah.
A Wing.
Okay.
And I looked up and I could see on the second cell along, on the very top landing, I could see the outline of a person stood in the doorway, and the cell looked like it was lit up. So I didn't even think twice. I just went upstairs, presuming I would find the group of guests in that cell. I climbed up 3 flights of stairs to get up there to an empty cell. I wouldn't have climbed up 3 flights if I knew they weren't up
No,
there. Um,
definitely not.
I'm sure I wouldn't have done that. And I was very surprised when I got up there. So I'm thinking, okay, so I definitely saw something that resembled a
Yeah,
person. I went up there presuming it was a person. Could they have moved? Was it like, did they move in the time it took me to get up there? When I
yeah,
actually found them, they were at the complete opposite side of the wing on the second floor. They'd not even used the staircase I used. They'd not been up to fours. They'd just gone to the
yeah.
other side of the prison. So I don't
Oh,
know who or what I saw, but something made me go up all of those stairs to
wow.
who I thought I'd find would be guests, and they weren't there.
That's fascinating though. To see something like that, it does make your night, doesn't it? Well,
It does,
makes more than a night, doesn't it, really?
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. But then again, I can't be 100% because I didn't think about it at the time. I just presumed it was a guest. So if I'd have paid more attention to it, it was I hate I think back and I'm like, oh, I wish I'd studied it more. I wish I'd stood at the bottom of the stairs and looked closer. But because I just thought it was a person, I didn't think any more of it, and I just went
Yeah, well, you
upstairs
won't. Yeah.
without even looking anymore, kind of thing. But
But then, do you think if you were looking for a spirit, would you've seen it? Because sometimes they say, like, if you catch something with your
mhm,
peripheral, and like I was at the National Justice Museum and someone
mhm,
just saw a shadow near the oubliette, and
yeah,
he described this dark shadow, whatever, and obviously nothing there. But if you, I don't know,
it's
it's
interesting.
yeah, isn't it?
I've heard stories that the Shadow Man at Shrewsbury is quite a deceptive character. I've heard lots of different stories, but I've heard he can be quite deceiving and he plays tricks. And so whether
Okay.
he showed himself in the cell to make me go up
Mm,
there because he thought that's what I
just
would
laugh.
do, and yeah, yeah, having a laugh at my expense of climbing up all
Yeah.
of the stairs.
Exactly, it's
But
not a
yeah,
thing any of us choose to do because,
yeah,
some locations, my
I know.
gosh, they
Yeah,
are tiring, aren't they? 3
yeah,
3 flights of
you get your
stairs.
steps in. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Monk of Oxford Castle then.
The monk at Oxford Castle, that was a strange one. So that wasn't kind of like I didn't physically see it with my eyes, but do you know when you see things in your mind, you get images and things like that.
Yeah,
So,
so yeah.
um, so at this particular location, I hadn't done any previous research. So Oxford is miles away from us. It's not one that we go to
Well,
very
yeah,
often. So didn't do any research because I thought, why not? Let's go into this one blind and I'll learn as we go along. So went to the event, and I genuinely did not know a thing about the location. I knew it had been used as a prison at some point, but that was about as much as I knew.
yeah,
We went down into the crypt or the basement or whatever they call it right at the bottom, and we stood in the crypt, and it was haunted happenings event, so we had all the guests and we were doing a call out, and Vicky had placed her music box in the corridor, so it was facing the corridor, and I was stood with sort of my kind of left to look at the corridor. And I didn't find we were calling out, we was getting a little bit of activity, and then it all happened very, very quickly. Something caught my attention in the corridor, and as I looked, I could see in my mind's eye the outline of a monk.
wow,
But I couldn't see a facial features. I could just see it in different lights. Does that make sense? Like his
okay,
face
yeah.
was paler, and then he had like something around his waist that was paler, and
Oh,
I
okay.
could see robes, but just in like shadow form kind of thing.
Wow.
And he was only there a split second, but at that same second, the music box in the corridor triggered right where I'd seen the monk. And I literally stepped back. It knocked me backwards because of just the shock of the two things happening at the
Yeah,
same time. Did not expect to look in the corridor and see a monk kind of thing.
yeah.
But and yeah, apparently there were monks associated with the castle with the crypt. Something I didn't know about before. So that
Yeah,
was
I wouldn't put monks with a castle. Not
no, no,
not it's not your general association, is it?
no, definitely not.
No.
And
I
it,
know
it
the
was
history of a castle can be quite grim, but not
yeah,
monks. Yeah,
yeah, and obviously it was the prison. So I thought if I was going to think of anything, it might be things connected with the prison.
yeah,
When you look at the castle, there's the cells and everything are there. It kind of paints that picture of prison
yeah,
over castle, I think. So to get a monk was quite unique, I think.
yeah.
I wouldn't automatically be thinking of that.
Oh, no, no, you wouldn't. No, they do get about though, don't they, the
I do.
monks?
Yeah,
But, so many locations where that's a question then,
yeah.
how many places are associated with monks?
That's it,
And
isn't
does
it?
that
Like,
then sort of cause, have a link as to why it's haunted?
yeah, yeah.
Wow, not thought about that one, but yeah,
No.
but it often does crop up, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
One way or another. So Clara's sleeping bedroom 2, there's an old lady woke her up leaning over me shouting, "No! Whether it's a dream or not, I'm not sure, but it felt real. Wow.
Nice one.
Yeah. I'm not sure where that was. Not sure if it was Oxford Castle or if it was
Maybe. Was it
Shrewsbury
this? Yeah,
or
somewhere.
Skirrid. But yeah,
Mhm.
but to get anything, that's one
Yeah,
way to wake you up, isn't it? Really?
it is, yeah. Not sure I'd be going back to sleep after that.
No, just like you've got a strong heart for that one, haven't you? Really? Ugh.
Yeah,
But
terrifying.
yeah, but where is the scariest of possible scarage? Yeah, that sounds about right, doesn't it? Because that
Yeah.
is a weird place, isn't it? Have you been?
Mhm. Well, I've never been, I'd love to
You
go,
haven't
but it's
been.
a
All
little
right.
little bit
Okay.
far. It's a little bit of a trek. I think
Yeah, it
it's something like
is. Yeah.
3.5, nearly 4 hours, so proper
Yeah.
road trip if we go into the Skirrid, but I'd love to go.
Yeah. It's special anyway. I went on it was a really stormy night, and
Even better.
it's right in the middle of nowhere. The wind, the rain. It was a grim night, and yeah, it was
Don't you
like,
think that adds to the atmosphere though, all the
oh God,
stormy
it did.
weather and everything?
It didn't help because I was camping as well.
Yeah.
So, God, because
Definitely
it's
not ideal.
and there's Lantoni Priory just down from
Mhm.
there, and it's not got a proper campsite either. So you just use toilets from the car park.
Sure, yeah.
You can park you can camp on the field next door, and it is sort of a campsite.
Mhm.
Oh gosh, you put your tent up and it's so grim. And then you call in there and oh God, it was like hell, to be honest. That sort of
Amazing.
like you just want to be stranded there.
Yeah.
It's windy, raining. Oh, wonderful night for paranormal. Yeah, it really
Not so
was.
much for camping though.
Well, no, because like you finish at silly time, don't you? Oh
Mhm.
yeah, you have a breakfast, don't you, and then leave after the breakfast. So
That was it, yeah.
then you kind of wondering if the tent's going to survive because it's windy as anything, and you go
Yeah,
back and crawl into this like yeah, but that was an experience. But
all good fun.
aren't they all though?
Yeah,
Like
that's true.
a lot of places you've got experience associated with them.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
what is the furthest you've been then?
Furthest, probably Oxford Castle, to be fair,
Right.
or maybe Gloucester Prison.
Yeah.
That's quite a trek. I loved Gloucester. I thought it was a brilliant, brilliant prison. But yeah, they're nearing on sort of 3 hours, which is a lot
Yeah.
to travel. And if you're not
It
staying
is.
over, it's a lot to travel within sort of one night kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't mind like anything with up to 2 hours is I don't mind that.
That's
That kind
brilliant
of
because
gets
I'm
us.
1 hour. I
Yeah,
can't take much more. I've
no,
been to
no,
sleep at Leicester Forest East after going to Warwick Castle.
yeah,
Yeah, that's really near it,
yeah,
but
yeah,
just the way it was that night.
yeah. I mean, 2 hours gets us to places like Newsham. That's a nice one. It gets us like Birmingham direction, Shrewsbury,
Yeah.
and we can get to the nunnery in a couple of hours. And so it's nice to have. It's nice to mix them up, kind of with more local locations as well in
Yeah.
between, and those shorter distances. But anywhere like Manchester, Sheffield, anything like that.
Yeah. I'm just like Leicester, Sheffield,
Mhm.
Derby, I am.
Yeah.
Nottingham, of course, but yeah, I'm sort of restricted to sort of those
Mhm.
areas. But there are so many locations about though, aren't there?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. We have some good locations around here as well, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm biased, but I think we've got some good locations up this end.
Is there a specific type of location you prefer?
I mean, I'll go anywhere. I love anywhere, but I mean, I love the prisons.
Yeah.
So my background is forensic psychology, so I think going into the prisons and being able to pair it with that
Yeah.
is a lot of fun. I love the history of like the justice system and stuff like that. So anywhere like the prisons, I love Shrewsbury. I love Newsham again for the asylum side of things.
Yeah. It's fascinating, isn't it?
You've got that bit to it, but anywhere, I really don't mind. I will genuinely go anywhere and enjoy it because I think every location's got its own bit to give, kind of
Oh,
thing,
it has.
whatever its
Yeah,
history is.
that's right. So if you could go anywhere in the world, where would you want to investigate?
that's such a good question.
I know you've got like probably so many on your bucket list.
There are. I'd love to go to Bran Castle and do Dracula's Castle.
Yeah,
I think I feel like that's the dream location, isn't it? Really for ghost
yeah,
hunters. I'd love to do. Oh, I don't know, anywhere. I'd love to go to the American asylums. You know, all the
yeah.
old asylums over
I'm
there.
surprised about Waverley Hills. Like
Yeah.
you hear of it, but to actually
Mhm.
see a photo, Jeremy, who does the Things Network, he's the owner of it, and he was there and he did a
Yeah.
live or was a photo of him. And it's like
Mhm.
huge, and
Yeah.
you just can't get your head around the
No.
size of it.
No, and I love to go to those kind of places and imagine what it would be like back
Oh,
in the day when it was up and running. And again,
yeah,
kind of from a psychology perspective, imagine like where psychology first came into the world and stuff like that. Like that blows my mind. So I'd love to do the American asylums. I think they'd be
but
brilliant.
do you think you'd get spirit coming up to you more because you do psychology? Do you think
I don't
they'll sort
know.
of click into that any?
Maybe. I
You
mean,
sort of draw
so
them.
yeah, maybe. I mean, I've spoken a little bit about kind of like the personal sensitive experiences I've had, and that's
Yeah.
always been something, if I'm being totally honest, that I've not ever really believed in. Do you know, when you're like,
Wow.
there's so much kind of, I think because there are people out there where it might be a little bit more fabricated than real, I think it kind of puts that doubt automatically in your mind. So it's always been something that I've been like, I don't know whether it happens, but then when you kind of get those sort of personal experiences yourself, and you're like, well, how do I explain that? Because that's something that I've been telling myself doesn't exist for however long, and then to actually get it yourself. So whether that's something to do with it, I don't know. Whether it's because I do study psychology and I kind of have a little bit more of understanding in that field, maybe that
Yeah.
it's easier for them to communicate with me, or maybe I'm a little bit more open-minded. I don't know. I genuinely don't know the answer, but it's interesting.
Yeah. It is so fascinating. I draw the ones with the really hard look stories.
Yeah,
The ones with the sob stories
yeah,
they're sort of drawn to me, and it's fascinating. It
it
really
is.
is.
It
And
is.
yeah,
And I think it's
I
a
just
proper
think it's
privilege as
brilliant.
well for if
Oh,
spirit
isn't it?
can use you to communicate. I don't even know what the right terminology is to say, but I think it's if that's what's really happening, if it is spirit communicating with us, if we can be a way for them to come and communicate with us, then I think it used to scare me, but now I see it more of as a privilege that they can use us to do that.
Yeah, I like how you say if it is spirit. We
Just
don't have a
we
clue, do
don't
we?
know.
You
No, we
know,
don't know.
what is it? Like, I know, I met the Newkirks from Hellier,
Mhm.
and they did sort of series about aliens.
Yeah.
That could, and we don't know what we're talking to,
No, we don't.
or if yeah, we've no idea.
No.
Could it just be our mind chemistry?
Exactly. Yeah.
It's just mind blowing, isn't it?
And studying psychology, a lot of the psychology and a
Oh,
lot of the paranormal, they don't go together. They don't want to, psychology is kind of, I know there's like paranormal psychology and sort of things like that, but traditionally you can't put the two together because psychology wants to explain everything and how we get to these perceptions and
yeah,
things like that. And then the paranormal wants you to kind of believe in something that we could maybe rationally explain with our mind. And I think putting the two together, at first there was quite a lot of conflict, but now I love it that I can bring my study to work as well, and see how they do fit together. And I think it's nice because then on another level you can kind of debunk those things that, yeah, maybe you can explain that with the mind and bring in that bit of knowledge, but then when you get things that you genuinely can't explain, I
yeah,
think that's brilliant.
yeah. It is fascinating. Now, Chris has got a great one, you know, and like I'd love to go there, and I
Yeah.
know somebody did sort of go there, but generally you can't get access, can
No.
you? So,
Yeah.
Rocky. But yeah, but yeah, what about Alcatraz, places like that?
Yeah, I'd love to go there. 100%.
Mm,
Yeah. I just think just being there, even if it's not even a paranormal investigation, just to go and see it.
yeah,
But yeah,
just see
right.
it around and
You've
stuff
got
like
places like that have got to be haunted, haven't they, really? The amount of stuff
yeah.
that has happened in those kind of places.
I think anywhere where you've had emotion, so you get births, marriages,
Mhm.
deaths, happiness, like depression, any turmoil or any sort of emotion, and yeah, it's just going to have something there. I think
100%.
generally, like most places are, because houses, people have lived there, they've gone through all sorts of emotions,
Yeah.
and then you've got your spirit guides with you as well, so you could go and like you'll take a settle for the scary, bless you. But yeah, you can sort of take those with you as well, and who knows?
That's it.
Yeah, and I love it. It's the inquiring mind, isn't it?
Mhm. Yeah.
You try and work something out, and you think, yeah, I've got it, I've sorted it. Next time,
Yeah.
no, that was wrong,
Yeah. Yeah,
and it's just
absolutely. It's
beautiful.
you learn on the go as well, don't you? Like every time you go somewhere, there's something else, whether it be a new piece of history that you learn, a new sort of spirit that you hear about, or whether it's just like a new method or a new technique that someone's used, or
Yeah,
like just anything. You can learn something everywhere you go, and then you can go and try it for yourself. And
that's
I think
right.
it's brilliant. I think it's brilliant. I love it.
Yeah, I did go a few weeks ago, and it's a wedding venue, location where Josiah Wedgwood owned it. One
Okay.
place, it's in Stoke,
Hmm.
and something was banging on the table,
Yeah.
responding yes and no.
Nice
And
one.
it's a great big table, about
Mhm.
10 of us sitting around it. We even like stepped away, like it's not us, stuff
Mhm.
like that. And yeah, knock, and you're getting one for yeah and two for no.
Nice
And
one.
to be able to have that sort of
Yeah,
conversation and it be obvious,
yeah,
because you do get the taps, will you tap, and you get a tap.
yeah,
And sometimes it's quite weak, but you hear it.
yeah,
But when it's a solid something, or
yeah,
you get a fantastic response, or an actual voice or something.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
That
nice
that'd
one.
be awesome. Yeah. But yeah, it's a fascinating place. But yeah, 3 hours, it's an awkward one, isn't it?
Yeah,
And
it's
that's the
yeah,
problem.
yeah. I think
But
it's the bit after where you're tired and it's the drive home. The event, no problem. Don't have a problem with that. I can stay awake through that.
yeah,
It's then when you're on the motorway at whatever time in the morning and you start to feel that tired. It's not fun, but
yeah, that's right. Because I've always got to stay like
Mhm.
overnight, and I'll often take a tent because I
Yeah.
went to that Welsh castle, which I can't pronounce. Well, can I pronounce any Welsh castle? That's the question. But I went there and I stayed on a campsite, and yeah, and you have to, don't you? And
Yeah. Yeah.
uh,
All adds to the fun.
so, how do you investigate? What's your main thing? Do you use gadgets or?
I think it varies, doesn't it? I mean, when we with obviously with haunted happenings, when we investigate with haunted happenings, we use everything. It's a
Oh, you have
variety
to. Yeah,
for
you've got
the
to. Yeah,
guests. They can try everything, and
yeah,
that's fine. And I love standing back and watching them have a go at all of the different things, and
yeah,
it's lovely. But if we do sort of personal investigations, I like just sitting there, just gadgets. I think
yeah,
it's difficult to be absolutely sure that when a gadget is triggered, that it's not something else setting it off.
yeah.
Um,
Exactly.
and
I have
if
a
I
gadget what goes off too much, and
yeah,
like I've taken it to Andy Guy. Why is it doing it?
yeah,
And now the batteries have gone on that.
mhm,
One of the other ones was going off loads.
yeah,
Okay, so that
yeah,
doesn't, and you try and get the differences, don't you, of
mhm,
how they
yeah,
work. Why is it
yeah,
different from before?
exactly. And I think I don't mind gadgets. Like if I think
Yeah,
they're a nice assistance, like they can assist you in what you're doing, but I like just sitting there and maybe just having like I quite like a spirit box. I quite
Yeah.
like to hear the voices through a spirit box because
Yeah.
you can tell then when it's something,
The
and
difference.
especially
Yeah.
when something matches what you're calling out for and stuff. I like the spirit box, but
Yeah.
anything like I love table tipping. I love watching table tipping, and I love watching people's faces when the table moves and they've never seen it move before.
Yeah.
And I love everybody who stands there and goes, "Was that you?" and tries to like figure out who's done it. And when you know that when you can trust the group that's round the table and you know,
That's the big one. Yeah.
yeah, that's the thing. And I've seen some incredible table. I've seen a table move without anyone touching it. Um and
Wow.
that will forever be one of my favorite experiences because I know full well that not a soul was touching that table, but it stopped
Yeah.
and started without anyone's
Gosh.
influence. Um, that was at
Yeah.
York Castle Museum. Um,
Oh, I wanted to go there. I was
yeah,
booked
it was.
Friday
It's
the 13th one, but the dog had an eye ulcer,
oh
so I had to
no.
cancel it. I was gutted. That was
Oh,
maybe March time or something, but yeah,
if you get the
I
chance to
could have made
go, it's
it.
brilliant.
Yeah.
And we were down near the cells. There's like the old cells down there, and
Oh, it's a stunning place. It's got everything, hasn't
it
it? It
has,
really
it
has.
has. We must have been trying this vigil for 30 minutes or more and got nothing. And it was genuinely a last ditch attempt to try and get something to happen. And there's all the names written on the cells, and we were
Oh,
one
wow.
by one saying the names of the people on the cells.
Oh my God.
And we got round to, I think it was Mary. I can't remember any more details, but it was the name Mary. And yeah, and we were started off touching the table, everyone was touching it, and we started feeling some movements. We was like, come on then, keep it going, and encouraging them. And it got really, really strong. And then one by one, everybody lifted their hands off the table and it carried on.
My
And that was
God.
brilliant. But then we were like, is it just the momentum of the table
Yeah.
going? Because, everyone's. So we asked it to stop and it came to a stop. And we were all still hovering, but no one was touching it. And it started again. And it started rocking again on its own. And none of us were touching it. Even the team member on that particular event, because we were guests there, was said, I've never seen this before. I've never seen this happen before.
My gosh.
And that was, and it was, as I said, like we'd been there 30 minutes or more trying with no result. But then
Yeah.
it can just happen, can't it? It can
Yeah.
flipping
That's
click and
right.
it can just happen.
Yeah. It could be the worst night ever. Then all of a sudden, just one thing. It's like, whoa.
And they always leave it till the
Yeah.
last 5 minutes, don't they?
Oh,
Before it's
oh
time to
yeah.
go.
The last 5 minutes. Oh, I've got to go now. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. That's the one. Sarah Jane Cleaver. What about Steelhouse Lane?
Oh,
Amazing place.
that
Yeah.
was that was pretty cool. That stands with me as one of the best spirit box sessions we've ever done. And again, it was just me and SJ that night. So it was a haunted happenings event. And me and SJ I think we went as guests. We weren't working that night,
Oh,
but so that we didn't get in the way of the guests and the team
yeah.
running the actual event, we just used areas where they weren't. And that
Yeah.
involved, I think, the women's cells.
Yeah.
I think SJ might know more than me, but I think it was the women's cells at the far end of the prison. And we just took the headphones in and for about an hour and a half, I reckon, just passing the spirit box between us every sort of 15 minutes. And we painted this picture, and from the stuff we got of, I think we got names come through. We got names of the staff at the prison that we didn't know. We
Wow.
got a story about a hanging or sort of something like that, and
Gosh.
stuff that, I mean, we didn't have a clue. And then when we took the information that we'd got to the one of the members of staff, it turned out the name that we'd got was this member of staff's name, who
Wow.
I'm pretty sure, and SJ, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure he had a photo of from an SLS camera on his phone outside that cell, which on the SLS camera it looked as if someone was hanging. If like you could
Oh
see
God.
the kind
Right.
of, so it all just matched of stuff that we had no idea about, but
Wow.
we got it all come through, and we didn't have a clue when we were in the cell that it meant anything. You just take note of the information you get, and yeah, that was amazing. It was
Yeah.
lovely to just
Yeah.
spend the night with SJ as well, and just kind of do our own little thing as well. That was lovely.
That's brilliant. Yeah. You've had some incredible experiences.
I feel very lucky with the experiences that I've had. And they don't happen all the time. It probably sounds like from reeling these off that it happens every night. It doesn't. It genuinely doesn't. And you'll know that as well, Jackie. It doesn't
Oh
happen.
gosh, yeah.
There's a lot of quiet nights.
Yeah, but do you
Between
find that the people sometimes affect it who turn up?
Absolutely, I think, yeah, the
Yeah.
dynamic of the room, the dynamic
Yeah,
of the event is really important. And we
definitely.
always will try and say to our guests, look, like, this is your night, this is your opportunity to give it everything you've got. And yeah, it seems a bit silly kind of thing. It might seem a little bit daft talking to a table or calling out in the pitch black, but get past that and give it a go, because
Yeah.
you're the quiet one and you're not really saying much. It might be a little bit harder for you, and it might feel like there's nothing happening. But if you get involved, the more you get stuck in with anything, really, isn't it? The more you get stuck in, the more likely you are to get out of it.
Oh,
You know.
doesn't get to work with you enough.
Well,
Bless.
we'll have to mix that up a little bit,
Oh,
Chris.
there you go. Yeah, you have to sort that one out, won't
Yeah,
you?
we'll sort
When
that
you
one
get the
out.
next email, I go, "Oh, can I join Chris sometime?"
Yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah, try it. But it is amazing. And don't do you find it awkward, like at the beginning of the night, when you sort of get all the strangers like arrive in a group, like you get the first bit, the opening bit, and then you sort of go off and do a vigil. Wow, it's the first 5-10 minutes, isn't it? While people are like, oh, the fidgeting and everything like that, and then you just try and get them going.
yeah,
So
yeah. It
just
can
get into
be.
the right mode and
Yeah,
like,
there's always that mix
oh,
of energy, isn't there? There's like nervous energy, there's
yeah, the ones who
excitement.
won't say anything because
Yeah,
they
and
think,
you've
oh,
got to
this is
gauge
weird.
that dynamic. And but
Yeah.
I think it's lovely to have that mix, because I think if you had
Oh,
everyone
yeah.
going 100% at it, it might be too much. If you get everyone
Mhm.
sat back and not really giving it anything, it's going to be hard work. But to have that mix of dynamic as well, I
Yeah.
think it makes those who might feel a little bit more nervous or a little bit uncomfortable feel a little bit more like, well, we can sit back until we feel ready to kind of come forward, kind of thing.
That's
And
right.
I think it's nice to have that mix up a little bit.
Yeah, it is. You I don't know what's going on.
At least Benny's being quiet down here.
Yeah, that's right. But, it is fascinating. It's great, that you can introduce people to the world of paranormal, something we love so much. But by hosting, you're giving people
Yeah,
experiences,
yeah,
and then if they come back, that's it, isn't it? You've done your
yeah.
job.
That's my
Um,
favorite bit, to have people on the events and who have never done this before, but find something that they are truly genuinely passionate about. And
yeah.
I mean, that was it for me. I'd grown up watching it on the telly, but that's as far as I'd gone with it. I was
Yeah.
like many people, that's how I got into the paranormal. And I remember that very first event at Bowlsover with Haunted Happenings. I mean, I don't like, I'm not a very confident person. I'm more so now than having been worked with Haunted Happenings, but before then
Wow.
I wouldn't talk to anyone. I would very much
Oh,
keep myself
bless
to
you.
myself. And I remember going on that very first event with Haunted Happenings, and I knew half an hour in, this is it for me. This is my path. Like, this is where I can be the person I want to be, kind of thing.
That's
And
brilliant.
I remember walking. I mean, I was with my mum, and we took some friends with us that night. And I remember looking back, and I didn't even know where they were. And I was just stood talking with the team, and I would never have done something like that before. I never would have gone out of my way to make those kind of contacts and have those kind of conversations. But yeah, I remember it was Phil. I remember walking with Phil and asking him about East Drive and all of the places like
Oh,
that.
wow, yeah.
I just knew from that minute that this is what I wanted to do. I'm so grateful to
Yeah.
Haunted Happenings for letting me
Oh,
join
bless
them.
you.
It's the best thing ever.
It is such a random thing to do.
It is
Like,
very random.
I'm moving to a new job.
Hmm.
Oops, my plug's actually going. So
Oh, no.
this is like wonderful. I don't even think I'm going to do this in time. So let's just hope I've got the right plug. Not. Yes, we're doing well, aren't we? So I think we might have to quit and actually come on. Got a slight technical issue here.
No
But
problem.
I'm going to stop this live. I'm going to come on in a moment, okay? So
Cool.
if you come and join us again in about 5 minutes. Okay, sorry about that.
No problem.
Take care and see you in a moment. Whoops, that's lovely. Oh dear.